Ellucian Live 2026, April 19th through 22nd in beautiful Denver, Colorado, advancing infinite possibilities. And it's higher education without limits. Don't just keep up with change, lead it. Higher education leaders from around the world are coming together at Ellucian Live 2026. Across 4 unforgettable days, discover new ways to meet students where they are and make the most of your technology through inspiring sessions and hands-on demos. Together, we're leveraging AI to create deeper human connections, support every student's journey, and open doors to lifelong learning. See you in Denver. Register now at elive.ellucian.com. It's going to be
amazing.
Welcome back, everybody. It's your time to EdUp on the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business. And I've said it a couple times so far here in 2026. And that's how lucky and honored we are to be able to serve you, our colleagues, in this way by interviewing today's trailblazing leaders in our 7th year of operation here at EdUp. 1,300 episodes about, plus or minus a couple. I actually don't know how many, but I know it's closer to 1,300 than 1,200. Over 600,000 listens of these podcast episodes from colleagues across the world as we, I say now we're working to help reclaim the value of higher education and our relevance to the world. Boy, isn't it funny? I was talking to somebody today. We're talking about a value of a degree, and it keeps coming up like, what is the value of a degree? Is it valuable? Isn't it? Blah, blah, blah. And it is amazing to me how there's literally facts, there's factual information through studies that say a college degree, you'll earn more, you'll live longer, you'll be happier, you'll probably even go to the gym more, you'll do all these things, you'll do them better. But somehow, some way, and I can't understand it, it's questioned. And we know that unless we group higher education, unless we blanket statement higher education, we know if you take out those segments, they're very affordable, high quality options. And by putting every single institution into this notion of higher education is too expensive is actually a false narrative, and something that we're working to try to dismantle here through interviewing amazing presidents, and we have a great one with us today. But before I get to her, I have to bring in somebody who's been a voice you've been hearing more often. You'll continue to hear her more often. She's helping us out here at EdUp a lot. When I can't do something or I get sick, she's like, I'll do it. That's what we love. Ladies and gentlemen, she's Dr. Jody Blanco. She's VP of Enrollment Management Consulting at Education Dynamics. Jody, welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me, Joe. It's a pleasure to be here, always.
So honestly, you got to tell me honestly, like any person who grew up in enrollment management, like myself and you, we're all control freaks. Yes. And so you've been hosting episodes on our behalf at EdUp when we can't. So you've had all the control, and now you're my co-host. Do you naturally want to just take over and I'll be the co-host? What do you want to do here?
I really don't. It's an interesting dynamic when you're on the other side. So I'm good to be your wingman today.
I feel too much pressure. I was going to try to hand it off to you. Well, I think our guest is going to do most of the talking. She's got a lot to say and the great work that she's doing. I'm going to bring her in right now. There's so much pressure on these intros to get them right. Let's see if I can do it. Ladies and gentlemen, she's Dr. Aminta Bro. She's president of Bowie State University. Welcome to the mic. Aminta, how are you?
I'm doing just great. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really looking forward to the conversation.
Aminta, just so you know, part of my strategy sometimes with people who have long titles or very unique names is to say them super fast so you can't tell if I'm making a mistake or not. So it sounds like I did okay. I love your name. We talked about it. Aminta is such a very unique name. And
yes, it is. And you did a great job. You must have taken Spanish in high school. Is that right?
No, Puedo usar el baño is, I think, the only thing I took away. Only took away from my Spanish class. But we're not here to talk about my Spanish. We're here to talk about you and the great work you're doing at Bowie State University. So let's just assume for a moment we have somebody that hasn't heard of Bowie State. Where are you? Who do you serve? And how do you serve them?
Wonderful. We're located in the wonderful Prince George's County, Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C., in the DMV area, as they say around here, very close to Annapolis, the capital city of Maryland, but just about 25 miles outside of D.C., and that affords a lot of opportunity for our students to get internships, experiential education, and we're also just south of Baltimore City, Charm City, where the university will be serving as the host university for the upcoming CIAA conference that's nationally known. But Bowie State University is the oldest HBCU in Maryland, founded in 1865, and we were founded in Baltimore on the corner of Calvert and Saratoga Streets. And we just celebrated our 160th anniversary. Today, we have just about 6,000 students studying in over 20 undergraduate majors, 29 masters, altogether just about 65 academic programs. And we're very well known for our focus on entrepreneurship and experiential education. And we have just a wonderful campus atmosphere in Prince George's County. We sit on the campus of 337 acres. So I invite everybody to come out, see firsthand. It's a beautiful area.
Amazing.
Now, is that background a real-time view of how things look at Bowie State right now? Is that?
Well, actually, it does look a lot like this. We just came through that big snowstorm with a lot of sleet and freezing rain and a lot of things that Mother Nature was throwing at us. And, we're here in February. It is winter. So the campus does look much like that, but we've been clearing. We were closed for a couple of days and then we went virtual. These days, we don't have too many snow days anymore because we're able to pivot and deliver education online. We learned how to do that through that, tough time of the pandemic. So any of our courses can now be delivered online wherever our faculty are located.
One of the things that that it would be unique, not completely unique, but I think a great advantage for Bowie State, as you talked about, is your distance or closeness to major metropolitan areas, which makes employer partnerships really important and attractive to a student who could come to Bowie State and go, wow, I could go here within 30 miles and be in multiple cities and multiple states. How do you and this is really a curiosity, I just came up with this question, how do you pull employers? Do you pull them by city, by state? Do you have some areas you concentrate and others you don't? Is it sort of just a radial kind of approach?
Well, we have employer partnerships from across the country. One of our partners is as far away as Oregon. It's Leica Studios. We are the only HBCU that they partner with, and that's because of our wonderful program in visual digital media arts. What does all that mean is our students are training to go into very high demand careers in working in stop motion animation. That's what Leica Studios does. They're the producers. They worked on films like Coraline, that was were very well known. But our students are going to work, find jobs after graduation, and with internships and co-ops before graduation with employers that are out in California, in Dallas, Texas, just so many different locations. Some of our top employers include Adobe. We're an Adobe campus where we have many of the tools that are integrated into the classroom experience. We also are partnering with local partners, BGE, that's based in Baltimore, part of the Exelon family of companies, Pepco. And BGE especially is a great partner because when you say, how do we poll them? We're looking for partnerships, not just those employers that show up at a career fair, but those that are investing in the educational experience for our students. So, for example, with BGE, they not only come to the career fairs, but they also provide scholarships, they provide internships, they provide mentors. And so it's a full partnership in this educational experience. We also partner with Verizon. We have partners in different industries and businesses, and we're very well known also in the social sciences, by the way. So our partners aren't just corporate partners, but just recently we partner with Gaudenzia. that is based over at the old Crownsville Mental Hospital. Why are we there? That's in Anne Arundel County. We're there because we are a public university and we give back to the community, and we want our students to be part of the community and understand societal issues and needs. And so our psychology majors, social work majors, they are over there partnering with Gaudenzia that provides outreach to individuals who are experiencing drug addiction. So it really runs the gamut in looking at how we mesh with employers that are out locally, statewide, nationally, that are aligned with our academic programs. And then finally, we're really strong in the STEM areas. And so our partners, one of our faculty members, the chair of computer science, she wasn't finding the employers who were coming to the career fair to be as much of a fit for what her students needed. So she went out and started her own internship program, and she did go out and knock on doors and call different employers. And as a result, she had a tremendous success with connecting employers, some of the top employers in the country, with computer science majors. And she was actually featured in New York Times for how she said, I'm going to go get the employers and make sure that they see the excellence among our students here. And so we applaud our Dr. Rose Shumbo, who did that on her own. So our employers really run the gamut from Northrop Grumman, IBM, Lockheed. These are some of the employers hiring in the STEM areas.
Let's go.
I love your sound effects.
It's so impressive that you, the reach, you mentioned Oregon is one of your partners as far as Oregon.
Yes. Oregon.
And so I have a ton of appreciation for you being able to, your institution being able to make the connection of not only creating these partnerships, but actually having that come to life for your students, where they're having internships, they're being placed in careers. That's what it's all about, right? That's what we do. And my question is going to sound like an obvious one, but from a consulting standpoint, institutions a lot of times have these visions for partnerships, or they see that we need to have corporate partnerships or relationships, but there's oftentimes a gap in making that a reality. So my question to you is, how have you been able to successfully bring these partnerships to life in a way that your institution is actually delivering to the student what we talk about, which is that value and that experience in the real world? What are some best practices or ways that you would pass along to say, this is how we make this real? This is how we bring this vision to fruition.
Well, it does start with having that common vision. The organization with our institution, understanding who we are, an HBCU dedicated to excellence for over 160 years and providing access and affordability to a quality educational experience. So we're looking to partner with institutions that understand that mission of access. So as I mentioned with BGE, they're providing scholarships, not just saying, oh, at the end of this experience, we need, 10 engineers or what have you. They're saying we're investing in you. And so it's looking at those institutions, those organizations, including government agencies that understand what we're about and what we bring to the table. One of the wonderful partnerships we have is with an organization called Saxby's. Saxby's is based out of Philadelphia. And they understood that we are focused on entrepreneurship and experiential education. So right here on our campus, we have an experiential learning cafe, totally run by students. The campus CEO is a student. He or she trains under the company up in Philadelphia. The student goes up there, understands how to run and operate a business. They are responsible for the hiring, the recruiting, the training. They are responsible for learning about the profit and loss statements. So understanding that we are so focused on entrepreneurship, Saxby's is the perfect partner with us to be able to help us set up basically an experiential lab right here on the campus. It then fits with their values because they're a B Corp. organization, meaning they're dedicated to ensuring people understand that organizations can do well financially by doing good things. And so that really is a perfect fit for us with experiential learning, with entrepreneurship, and helping our students understand those skills and developing those skills. So when they graduate, more and more students need to be able to navigate through a very rapidly changing work environment. They may have to start up their own business at some point. And so they need to have that entrepreneurial mindset, knowing how to create a new product, a new business, or just navigate as they see change happening in their own workplaces for larger organizations. Also, when you look at government agencies, we sit right along the defense corridor. Many of our students go and work for government and government agencies. And so finding the right partner with respect to government agencies is important too, with NASA fitting with our STEM majors and how we're developing those majors to address the needs in the space industry. And we hear every day about what's happening in that growing industry, not just with NASA, but private business too, in the space and aerospace industry. So preparing our students to meet the workforce needs of today and tomorrow is important, but they have to have a different mindset, and those partners that understand that we're about innovation. We're not the Bowie State of 50 years ago. We're not even the Bowie State of 10 years ago. We went through a pandemic. And so we're very different, and we look to partner in ways that are bringing more innovation, creativity, entrepreneurial thinking.
And go ahead, Joe. Were you going
to? No, Jody. I would.
All
never,
right, I'm taking over my wingman.
Surprise.
You just mentioned the evolution or the change and the shift. You're not the Bowie State that you were 10, 15 years ago. We all went through the pandemic. Can you talk a little bit about, as a president leading the institution, how navigating those challenges, that evolution, keeping the ship moving, keeping the evolution happening, and especially now, as Joe mentioned, we're reclaiming the value of education. We're in a very interesting and evolving time right now. What would be your thoughts, words of wisdom to leaders listening to this call of continuing to move through the changing times that we're in?
Well, for all leaders, I always focus in on taking care of yourself first, because this is a time like none other that I've seen in the time I've been in higher education for more than 35 years. And the change is coming at us at a rapid pace. So being able to lead our institutions requires that we lead in a different way, adhering to self-care so that we can take care of others. And I say that especially, and not to take anything away from our male leaders, but females especially, women especially, because we take care of so many people. We need to, and we're always looking out for others, so we need to make sure that we lean into self-care first. Aside from that, embracing innovation. AI is reshaping everything, every industry. And in order for us to prepare our students for these different businesses and industries, we have to change the model. We have to change the way that we deliver education. The types of programs that we are offering need to be evaluated frequently so that they are relevant for the workforce for today, but preparing for that change that's happening for tomorrow in the next few years. We're going to see careers and occupations emerging that we may not have heard of because of the reshaping with AI. I think there will always be a need for the human factor in this AI-driven world. But how will we as institutions have the right academic programs? Do we need to, just adhere to the 4-year model? Here at Bowie State, we have a cycle of every 7 weeks. We have students who can enroll in certain programs every 7 weeks, and not just waiting for, here's the next semester starting, as we always did 20 years ago. but rather looking at a different pace of how we delivering virtually, and making sure we have the right fit for the workforce of the future.
I love this convo. I love it because you just said everything that I was thinking. First thing is, nobody else besides us thinks in semesters, besides higher ed people. Nobody goes, oh, next semester. They don't do that. They don't think that way. A business doesn't think that way. Like, let me think about my business. I'm going to take a break and I'm going to think about it next semester. It's like, no, you won't have a business, right? So this idea that you're talking about of relevance, I think, is a really important concept. And I actually talk about this a lot because I think to your point, we're in this battle to maintain relevance and exceed expectations of a consumer or a student. Like, there's programmatic relevance. You talked about it. Like, is my major still valuable? Is it still relevant? Does the job exist? Can I get a job in it? We've got the skills relevance. Like, what's in this degree? And is it current or is it dusty? Because we know how long does it take sometimes to get a program reviewed and updated. In higher ed, it can be forever, right? We know that. Mm-hmm. We know we have the degree relevance. Is it valuable, isn't it? There's institutional sustainability relevance that we have to work on, just the business model. And then there's the public relevance, like getting the public to agree that we have a relevant product. And you hit on so much of that. And to what Jody was saying, and I want to just build on that, it's easy to recognize it and easy for most of us to go, well, we have to update our model. And it's a lot harder to get a leader who's willing to go and do it and drive their staff to execute, which is really a missing piece, is the execution. It's like easy to say and another thing to do it. What has made you successful in the execution piece of this, which I think is a differentiator? Ellucian Live 2026 is taking place April 19th through 22nd, 2026 in Denver, Colorado. Advancing infinite possibilities. Turn innovation into action with AI-powered solutions, student-first strategies, and a global network of fellow leaders at Ellucian Live 2026, higher education's premier global technology conference. It's going to be
amazing.
That's a great question. I think it's recognizing that we're not in this alone as leaders. We have champions on this campus among our faculty, among our staff, who are embracing the amount of change. I'm really fortunate with our Center for Education, Teaching, and Learning, our CETL program, that they've built out programs. A few years ago, we dedicated our Faculty Institute to artificial intelligence, bringing in speakers to help us understand what was happening in our world and to help navigate this amount of change. And that was a tremendous asset for us to have us come together as a campus community and talking about it and understanding, well, what is it? And how is it likely to reshape what we're doing? And each year we have integrated artificial intelligence into our professional development opportunities for faculty and for staff. We also are very pleased that we're able to, continue to grow with the CETL, what we call CETL Fellows. These are members of the faculty. It's kind of a train the trainer model. They're really delving deeply into different subject matters, and then they're going out across the campus to different colleges and departments to talk about what's happening in those respective areas. And so it's a feedback loop where we're here, well, where are you now with understanding about artificial intelligence or other subject matters? And then that helps the administration, for me to understand where I need to meet my faculty, where I need to meet the staff to bring them along in the process. And then I'm doing a lot of reading on from different authors about AI, and there's a lot coming at us, and trying to discern how we navigate through so much information that's coming to us. So again, it's about leaning into the subject matter, but bringing champions on board with me to help, to make sure it's just not me standing there saying, here's where we're going, get on board, but rather having those champions aligned and bringing their colleagues along And then at times saying, well, we don't know the answer to this about what, it's going to look like for this particular field. So why don't we bring in those experts? And let me just underscore that bringing experts from industry and business into the classroom is important. And that helps to reshape our curriculums so that the curriculums are current and we're not teaching from a syllabus from 10 years ago, but that syllabus has been updated and improved upon based on information, based on data from the experts who are out there in the field. So we have from time to time executives that are coming in, talking with our faculty, meeting with them to keep the curriculums current. And that's been a tremendous benefit to us.
Tell them like it is.
I'll hand it back to Jody, but you're an anomaly. Aminta, I don't know if you know this a little bit. And so I look at people's LinkedIn's and their careers, and I'm going to tell your story real quick and see if I get it right, and you can tell me where I'm wrong.
All right.
But you were like, you're an assistant provost at a I would say very traditional university for a number of years, and then you were like, man, I'm having trouble driving the level of change and entrepreneurship that this needs to happen to keep students current. So I'm going to take a break from higher ed. I'm going to go do something else. And you went to work in business, and you went to business, and then you found how fast business moves, and you said, you know what, I got to get my knowledge back into higher ed. So you became a dean of students. Then you moved to VP of advancement, VP of student affairs, on your way to president, and sort of peppered yourself on multiple departments, which is not always the case, right? Like there's this path of dean and faculty dean, provost, academic affairs, president, and way less that somebody's done advancement and student affairs and has a little bit of business in the middle of all that. I don't know if I'm telling the story exactly.
Well, let me tweak it just a little bit. I've always been in higher ed throughout my career. The business aspect is serving on boards, including a publicly traded board that afforded me a great opportunity to expand my knowledge base about how we might connect in higher education with business. And so, serving on that publicly traded board was a phenomenal experience. I've also served on other boards, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, but the publicly traded opportunity with Philadelphia insurance companies was incredible because, again, it helps me to think at a different pace than where higher education is. Sometimes you mentioned earlier about how slow things can evolve. What I know is that we cannot afford to operate at the same pace because business and industry, they want it within 24 hours, and we're thinking about 24 months. That just can't happen. And so I do have a very unique background, having served in 3 different areas of higher ed, of the institution, and lastly, in advancement. And presidents today have to focus in on fundraising, on advancement, growing the endowment, growing the resources. As a public university, we are especially keenly aware of that as states across the nation have decreased the amount of funding coming to public institutions. So it's a very unique background. But again, it's, I guess, perhaps how I see, I have a lens on the world about business and how we can connect and deepen our partnerships and relationships in that way.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
I love what you said about helping you to think at a different pace. So I'm curious, again, I know sounds simple and people hear that and they go, okay, I can understand that. But I'm curious for you to expand on that a little bit more. What does that look like in the day-to-day for you? How does that come to life with the execution that Joe brought up earlier? How do you and you mentioned this too, presidents have to think about a lot at one time and keep a lot of plates spinning at one time. How do you prioritize what you're executing on, and how does that thinking at a different pace play a role in that prioritization on the execution?
Well, given that I can't clone myself, that means distributing and delegating in strategic ways. By that I mean few years ago, I stood up a new department within my office of economic development and strategic engagement. So as new partners are coming to us, we're able to respond faster. We're able to discern whether this is a good fit or not. And we've now since expanded that department. That is now under a newly created division of research and innovation, bringing together that unit together with tech transfer so that we're able to commercialize a lot of the research that we're doing here among our students and our faculty, doing that quicker. We also are focused on becoming an R2 Carnegie classified institution. Last year, we received our research designation, and that's the first stepping stone to becoming an R2. And so we're bringing together under one structure economic development, strategic engagement, partnerships. And so the structure of an institution matters. So as much as I would love to be able to be the one who's always responding and to these new opportunities, I'm one person. So creating structures and systems that allow us to become more nimble and agile is really the key to that. And we're growing, we're scaling these operations as quickly as possible because we've seen great new partners coming in. And we know there are more out there on the horizon, and having this structure in place is a tremendous benefit to realizing these new opportunities coming our way.
Can you clarify, just for folks listening, you mentioned the name of the center that works with your partners, your strategic partners, your corporate partners. Can you re-clarify that structure?
So the division is the Division for Research and Innovation.
Okay.
And under that is the Department of Economic Development and Strategic Engagement.
Wow.
And so we're looking outward from the institution to see where do we connect with business, with industry, to grow our enterprise, and do it strategically and be able to respond and then anchor those opportunities back to the community. Because otherwise, business and industry, and this is another value added benefit when you serve on a board for a publicly traded company and other boards, learning how they operate. And many businesses, many employers, they don't know how to connect with a university. What do we call ourselves? Is it economic development? Is it, business affairs? What is it? So what I've heard is that sometimes businesses, they don't know where to start with us. Do you call the dean of the college? Where do you go? So we have stood up this new division. And if you don't know where else to go to Research and Innovation, and they will connect you to the rest of the campus because under there is economic development and strategic engagement. So Brilliant. We're able to quickly move forward and anchor those new opportunities wherever we believe they are best anchored, and helping guide employers to know where they should be anchored. They might be thinking, oh, well, we can partner with business and we want to partner with your College of Business. But did you know that we have MIS over here, and data analytics is in another college, but they don't need to worry about that. You tell us what you want to do and we'll make it work and connect you to the relevant areas within our institution.
You said this very early on in the conversation, and I think you just articulated the statement that you said earlier, which I'm going to mention here in a moment, so beautifully. You mentioned early on about it's a true partnership, and you view it as a true partnership. And that statement of a lot of times employers don't know where to begin with us. And so us creating a structure and a system and a pathway, obviously in a program and a curriculum sense, but just a human communication pathway for them to understand, where do I go? Who do I talk to? How do we make this work? Supporting them and their evolution as talent pipeline and talent development, just as much as they are providing a resource and a pathway for you all. Oftentimes where I see institutions who want to partner with employers or corporations, or they want to get this vision off the ground that Bowie State is executing so well. The conversation is coming from a place of what's in it for us, and it's very us driven or selfish driven. And I I hesitate to use that word, but that's
Yikes!
kind of how that's how it can show up to an employer is, hey, we want to do an articulation agreement with you so we can get more of your employees to become students. And I want to call out the appreciation and really respect for the model that you've built, because you don't use that word partner lightly. It truly is a partnership, and you're executing on that from both sides of the equation.
Thank you for that point, and I think you said it very, very well. That it has to cut both ways. Is it a good fit? That's where I come back to. Not every partner out there is a good fit for us, and vice versa. And so, that's where these units that I've described are set up to sit down around the table and virtually, what have you, and say, is this a good fit for us before we move forward? And it is an investment. It's an investment for us and our resources at the institution at Bowie State University. It's also an investment for those employers, because at the end of the day, we both want to be able to say that we've moved the needle, we've provided education, and we provided opportunity for our graduates to land in a place that's a good fit for them. And so it starts with, are we aligned with our missions, with our values, with the vision that we have for our organizations to move forward? And so thank you for pointing that out. And, that is something we're very, very proud of, along with creating new opportunities for our students to hit the ground running. And so when they're in these internships, and I mentioned the experiential learning, they're also growing in understanding of the work environments. And you mentioned earlier about these partnerships and the models. What we have found really works is when our students are partnered with mentors, because everything that they're taught in the classroom, or they're not always taught all that they will need to know. Some people refer to the skills that are needed to be successful in the workplace as soft skills. And I often talk about essential skills. It is learning how to do the time management, navigate the political landscape of the workplace that they're going to be going to, how to dress for success, how to align with the movers and shakers in the area. So those essential skills are developed through these really important aligned partnerships that we've created.
I think social capital is going to be more and more important as technology continues to try to make things easier and keep us isolated. Like we're always on our phone, or we're going to use AI for this or AI for that. But the relationships that you're able to make and the social capital that students can create is going to be a differentiator. And having those human, durable power skills, whatever we want to call them, are just so critical. But I want to hit one thing you said, because I think it is just a good point. You talked about an employer not knowing, and Jody reiterated it, not knowing where to go. And I've seen it, you probably have too, where, well, this school owns the partnership with this company because they've got a business, and the school owns it. And so you've got some faculty over here going, but that company also hires people for my program, but how come I can't have access to this partnership? And the partner, the employer, just like we don't call Amazon and say, hey, can we talk to your manufacturing department because my product's defective? We don't. We just email it back and we send it back, and everything happens behind the scenes. It's almost unfair to an employer to have to navigate our bureaucratic structure and go, well, this college does this, and who do I talk to for that? Having a central point makes it a better experience for an employer. Right? I mean, if we're talking about student experience, employer experience, because then your central team can work cross-functionally and go, well, they're going to partner with this school for this and this school for that. And we're going to centralize that up into a single unit of currency exchange of some kind. I mean, I think that's so good, because I see it more often the other way around, where it's this school has that partnership and this person holds that one. And it's very hard to keep track of who's doing what.
Well, you mentioned the word customer earlier in this program, and that's a word that wasn't always used in higher education, talking about customers. And early on in my career, we didn't talk about customers, but really we need to be focused there more so in looking at our students as customers, as well as employers, as customers. So how do you then support their needs and ensure that they're getting what they need? At the end of the day, we're all about the same thing. We're about ensuring that these students are successful. It helps the employer for their workforce. It helps us as a society, building up our communities. So we're all in this together. So there is a real upside to recognizing the customer, and the customer is internal for our students, focused on them and the career path that they're on, but for that employer and understanding where they're heading for tomorrow and trying to get ahead of that curve. And that comes back to that entrepreneurial thinking that institutions have to have. And we talk about experiential or entrepreneurship for our students. In my leadership, what I've said early on since I arrived here back in 2017 is we have to be entrepreneurial in our own thinking. Are we creating new opportunities, being innovative? Are we adapting to the change and integrating change into how we are navigating with our strategic plan? Our strategic plan is called Boldly Forward. Well, if we're going to be boldly forward, you have to think in a more entrepreneurial manner.
We don't have enough time for me to get on my soapbox about the experience thing, but you went right down my alley.
Sing it, Jody.
I love it. And Aminta, you sharing the perspective of it was these weren't your exact words, but the essence of calling a student a customer 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago you just didn't do that in
taboo.
Higher ed. Yeah, it was taboo. But if you think, Joe mentioned earlier, there's so much technology happening nowadays. Institutions are looking for ways to plug in technology and AI and streamlining systems. What we're doing, and I think we have to be careful of this, is we're removing the human being element out of our thinking, out of our, if we over rely on technology and automation, we lose the fact that no matter what title we have, or if we're a student or a faculty or a partner, we're still a human being. And at its core, as human beings, we want to feel seen, heard, understood, have an experience that creates those feelings where I feel really safe, understood, taken care of in this partnership, in this experience, and how we execute on that as institutions is critical. And so a lot of times I'll hear students talk about, well, the student is in the center, but you look at the processes and the intention is pure and the heart is pure, but executing on that isn't always, that's not what happens in real life. So the vision is there, but it doesn't come to fruition. And I think what you're talking about and what you're doing, the experience that you're creating for your students, for your faculty, for your partners, it sounds like you are really living that and keeping that at the center.
It's a process to change a culture, to change, hundreds of years of a structure of how higher ed has operated. And at the core of what we do it is the people. And change is hard. It is very hard. We have to change structures. We have to change the way that we have viewed the world. And I'm very proud of the work that we're doing. It's a process that we're going through. And we're continuing to learn and to lean into, new products that have AI integrated into. We went to a new product. I don't want to call them out, but it required that we change our operations. It has AI capabilities, but selling into the campus, I'll still have some bumps and bruises for it because it was a lot to go through, more than a year of a transition, going from the old systems, old operations to this new platform with AI. But we got through it. And I think a key to changing the culture is recognizing that you have changed and stopping for a moment to say, we are different. We did change. Look, you did it. And then rewarding that change, because it's not easy, especially at the pace that the change is happening for higher education. So recognizing the people who are in it, I couldn't be more proud of my faculty and staff who are still talking to me through all this change that has come about, and trusting and are on this path together internally in a partnership to bring about the change that we've been able to achieve here.
Getting feedback from faculty and staff is not hard when you're going through lots of change. You can get lots of feedback on how things are going. So it's hard, but necessary. And it's necessary for us to be sensitive of your time. And I want to ask you our last two questions that we like to end every episode with. One's an open mic for you. Tell us anything else you want to say about Bowie State University, anything that you want to plug, anything that's going on, anything top of mind.
Sure. Well, I'd like to make it clear that, we are changing. We are a different institution, and we will be a different institution in the next 5 years because we are leaning into entrepreneurship, becoming more entrepreneurial. I'm very proud of the work that we're doing to lead the way in that endeavor with so many elements and to the educational experience here, including our Entrepreneurship Innovation Center that has a long host and list of programs for students, and the way that we partner internally across the campus to drive this change is extremely important. As you hear me talking about all the change happening, the Entrepreneurship Innovation Center has been a wonderful leader in that respect here on our campus. And we partner with the Bowie Business Innovation Center that's externally facing, connecting us to the larger entrepreneurial ecosystem. So entrepreneurship is more than just changing a course or a curriculum. It's about being part of an ecosystem of entrepreneurship. And so we're very proud of the way that we've been able to become more agile, more nimble to deliver education, because we believe that we're preparing graduates who are career ready, innovative, adaptable, and equipped to create opportunity. And that at Bowie State University, we are preparing students to create new opportunities, not just find a job, want them to find a job, but to create new opportunities.
And finally, the crystal ball moment. What do you see for the future of higher education?
Oh, I see a bright future for many institutions because I do talk with my colleagues, and I do think that we are recognizing that we can't go it alone in higher education. I see new partnerships being created across industries. I see partnerships like the ones that we have here with community colleges, with K through 12th grade, ensuring that those entities are successful, because if they're not successful, we will not be successful as students are coming up, and we need to make sure they're prepared to come into higher education. So I see the innovation happening with new partnerships, new ideas coming to the fore that are creating the opportunities for us in higher education to be more successful. I think the more that we adapt to change, that we will be set up for preparing graduates for the workforce of tomorrow. And I want to emphasize that we are the oldest HBCU in the state of Maryland, and we've come a long way, over 160 years. So I think the future is bright for the next 160 years. And then finally, we are very, very pleased with how we are able to partner across HBCUs to help lift up other HBCUs and other universities across the nation in different partnerships. We partner with Howard University on some large grants. We partner with other HBCUs and other entities with our entrepreneurship conference that we hold every year, not just for HBCUs. It's called the HBCU conference, but it's grown because it's a value added benefit for other institutions. So we say, everybody come under the tent and let's join together so that we can embrace this changing environment, because it's exciting. And I get great excitement and joy from the innovation and the opportunities that lie ahead for BSU, for Bowie State University, and for my sister institutions as well.
Well, I don't know who's organizing that entrepreneurship conference, but I'm not sure if you've ever had a podcast there to interview people at the conference. But the EdUp Experience podcast could be available, and maybe something we could discuss.
I think that's the newest opportunity. Thank you
Jody,
for that. Thank
Jody,
you.
what did you think of this conversation, VP Education Dynamics?
I had a blast. Thank you for joining us. And I have so much, again, admiration and appreciation for what you're doing to bring the partnership vision to life and to really take care of students and the workforce and the way that you are, and keeping that experience and that value at the center of your vision. And education dynamics, Aminta, I don't know if you have plans over the next 2 weeks, but we are hosting an enrollment management and marketing conference in Fort Lauderdale. For those of you listening, if you would love to come to Florida in February, if you're in a cold part of the world, Insight EDU, yes, the EdUp podcast will be there, Joe and Elvin. We are Insights EDU is where all of your enrollment management and marketing tips and tricks and all the newest best practices will be sharing. Google will be there, Reddit will be there. Somebody from Simon Sinek's team is going to be there. So for those of you listening, we'd love to have you join us. And Aminta, if you can join us in Florida, we'd love to see you there too.
I think the background looks a lot better than the one I have. So that's very enticing.
Yeah.
I think this will serve as a nice promo for you to get more people to the conference.
Sunshine. Hopefully.
Final quick question, Aminta.
Yes.
Did you have fun?
I had a great time. Thank you so much. It was a joy, and thank you for the invitation, the opportunity to share with you what's happening at Bowie State University. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, there she is. She's Dr. Aminta Bro. She's president of Bowie State University. And you just EdUp.
Attention.
It's time to register for Lucian Live, April 19th through 22nd, 2026 in Denver, Colorado, advancing infinite possibilities. And it's higher education without limits. Don't just keep up with change, lead it. Higher ed leaders from around the world are coming together at Lucian Live 2026. Across 4 unforgettable days, you'll discover new ways to meet students where they are and make the most of your technology through inspiring sessions and hands-on demos. Together, we're leveraging AI to create deeper human connections, support every student's journey, and open doors to lifelong learning. See you in Denver. Register now at elive.elucian.com.